Good morning and welcome to today's class. In today's class, I shall be solving an assignment sent to me by one of my students online. And some of the assignments are in algebra, we have some on polygons, and it's just a mixed assignment. So I shall be solving some of them, and I'm going to post it online to equally help those who are still having issues on some of these topics, and it may likely be a revision to most of you. So kindly follow us while we solve this. You can as well solve and send your answers to me so that we can compare and see. So the first assignment is on algebra, where she's asked to simplify the two brackets. Now when you have a problem like this and you have to simplify, all you need to do is to first of all open the bracket. Thereafter, you collect like terms where necessary. So this is going to be equal to 4b plus 3. But because there is a term in front of the second bracket, I'm going to multiply every term in the bracket by the constant term that is outside. Before the bracket, we have a plus 1. So I'm going to multiply every term in the bracket by plus 1. And when you multiply plus 1 by plus 5, it's going to give you plus 5. And when you multiply plus 1 by minus 2b, you are going to have negative 2b. For whatever you multiply with positive 1, returns the value of that term. After opening the bracket, we are going to collect like terms. And this is going to be 4b minus 2b, while the constant term, which are plus 3 and plus 5, comes behind. Then when you simplify, you are going to subtract 2b from 4b, and that gives us 2b. And when you add plus 3 plus 5, is going to give us plus 8. So this is your answer. Kindly like our videos as you watch, while we encourage you to subscribe to our channel if you are yet to do so. Also turn on the notification bell so as to be notified when a new video is being uploaded. We shall now take question 2. In question 2, she's asked to find the value of x, I believe so, in the equation 14 minus bracket 2x is equal to 8. Now, if 14 minus 2x is said to be equal to 8, what is x? In that case, we are going to simplify by collection of like terms. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides, and thereafter, this becomes minus 2x is equal to 8 minus 14. For when you subtract 14 from the left hand side, it cancels out the positive 14, and when you subtract 14 from the right hand side, you're going to have 8 minus 14. So I'll simplify for that to have minus 2x to be equal to 8 minus 14 is said to be minus 6 using your number line. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2 because negative 2 is said to be the coefficient of x, and the question says we should find the value of x. So when you divide both sides by negative 2, divide here by negative 2, negative will cancel itself, and x is said to be equal to 6 divided by 2 is said to be positive 3. So 3 is that value that when you substitute it in this equation, it makes it to be equal to 8. For 14 minus 2 times 3 is 6. 14 minus 6 will give you 8. Question 3 says, if the minute hand and the hour hand are at 12, through how many degrees will the hour hand move from 12 to 2? So if we have this, if this happens to be the clock, don't mind my diagram. If this is 12, 6, 9, 3, I have 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, and initially both of them are said to be here. So what the question is saying actually is that how many degrees will it move to become 2 o'clock? So how do we solve this? In solving these questions, we are going to use ratio. That if the hour hand should make a complete circle, that is 360 degrees, it needs to move 12 times or 12 hours. So if it has moved only 2 hours, how many degrees would he have covered? So I will say if, using proportionality, if 12 hours gives me 360 degrees. Then 2 hours is said to give me x degrees. Now you simplify and get your equivalence. That is to say, I'm going to cross multiply. That is 12 times x will be equal to 2 times 360. So what will be x? X now is said to be equal to 2 times 360 all divided by 12. So that x is equal to 12 into itself is 1. 12 into 36 is said to be 3 times. Into 0 is 0. So that 2 times 60, 2 times 30 is said to be 60 degrees. That is to say that the hour hand is going to move 60 degrees in order to move from 12 to 2. So this is your answer. Question 4 says, dash is a solid with 4 or more plane faces. Now, this takes us back to plane shapes. And in plane shapes, objects with 4 or solids with 4 faces or more are said to be polygon. So we have polygon of degree 4, polygon of degree 5, polygon of degree 6, and so on and so forth. So this is said to be a polygon. Question 5 says, a polygon that has 9 sides is called what? It is called a nonagon. A nonagon. For a nonagon is a polygon with 9 sides, while a polygon with 10 sides is called a decagon. 8 sides we have an octagon, and so on and so forth. Question 6 says, the diagram is a dash triangle, and this triangle is said to be an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. Why is it said to be an isosceles triangle? It is said to be an isosceles triangle because 2 sides of the triangle are said to be equal. And once the 2 sides of a triangle is said to be equal, the base angles are also said to be equal. That is, this angle is said to be theta. While a triangle with all 3 sides being equal, represented this way, is said to be an equilateral triangle. And when you have a triangle with no side being equal, it is said to be a scalex triangle. Question 7 says, what is the scale factor of the reduction in the above diagram? We have 2 diagrams, A and B, with sides 36 by 52 and sides of triangle B to be of 9 centimeter by 13 centimeter. Now, for you to find the reduction factor or scale factor, all you need to do is find the ratios of each sides. Okay, you can find the ratio of the length of B to the length of A. Now, it must always be the length of B to the length of A, because B is said to be a version of A. So A has been reduced to B. If it is an enlarged version, then it's going to be the bigger object by the smaller object. But in this case, it's a reduction scale factor. So we are going to use the ratio of the sides of the smaller object to the size of the bigger object, and it must be of corresponding size. So therefore, I'm going to use the length of B to the length of A and the breadth of B to the length of A. So you can either say it is for A, I'm going to use, okay, let me use L1 and L2, where L1, let me call this shape 2 and shape 1, so that we don't get ourselves confused. So for you to find the scale factor of this is said to be the ratio of L2 divided by L1 or B2 divided by B1, because it is said to be a reduction scale factor. So for the length of L2, this is said to be 13 centimeter by 52 centimeter, and this must be equal to 9 centimeter by 36 centimeter. So whichever you use is correct. Okay, so you are not advised to use both of them. So look for a term that can simplify both. 9 can divide itself and 36, so 9 into itself is 1. 9 into 36 is said to be 4. So our scale factor is said to be 1 over 4. Now that means that for you to reduce this a further, just multiply either the length or the breadth by 1 over 4 and it gives you any of the sides, be it the length, the height, the breadth, or whatever. If the scale factor is 1 over 4, then just multiply, you get the new length. That is, if you multiply 36 by 1 over 4, it gives you 9. And if you multiply 52 by 1 over 4, it gives you 13. And that is how to get the scale factor. Question 8 says, on a map, 3 centimeter represents 15 kilometer. We should give the scale on a map. Now, if 3 centimeter represents 15 kilometer, the scale on the map is said to be, what this actually means is that you have 3 cm on the map to represent 15 kilometer on the ground. So all you need to do for you to get the scale is to look for a term that can divide both 3 and 15. And 3 is actually a factor. So 3 into itself is 1. So this gives us 1, 2, 3 into 15 is 5. So the scale is said to be 1 cm to represent 5 units. So this is the scale. You can call it 1 cm to 5 units, or 1 cm to 5 kilometer, depending on what the unit is. But in this case, we can actually say is 1 cm to 5 kilometers. So this is the scale. Question 9 says, the scale of a map 15 to 1200. How many kilometers does 1 unit on the scale represent? Okay, this is a continuation of the question 8 we just solved, that if the scale is 15 to 1200 units, that is to say 15 cm on the map represents 1200 units on the ground. Now they're asking us how many kilometers does 1 unit on the scale represent. That is to say 1 unit will be equal to x. You can use proportionality, you cross multiply. This gives you 15 times x being equal to 1 times 1200. And when you divide both sides by 15, you have x to be equal to 1200 divided by 15. And you can simplify further. For 3 can divide. 3 into 15 is 5. 3 into 12 is 4. 3 into 0 is 0, 0. 5 can still divide because 5 is a factor of itself and 400. 5 into itself is 1. 5 into 400 is 8. Into 0 is 0. So this is 80. What this means is that 1 cm on the scale represents 80 units on the map, so on the ground. So this is said to be equal to 1 cm represents 80 units on the ground. So the question says, how many kilometers does 1 unit on the scale represent? So 1 unit on the scale represents 80 kilometers on the ground. Question 10 says, we should list the properties of a square. For you to list the properties of a square, you need to know what a square is. So a square is said to be a polygon with 4 equal sides. Let's assume this is a square. That is, all these 4 sides are said to be equal. That is to say, side A, B, C, and D. So for a square, we have it that all sides are equal. All sides are equal. As well as if all sides are equal, therefore that means that this is also of angle 90 degrees. So all angles are equal, and not just equal, but equal to 90 degrees. Also, its diagonal meets at the center. So you can say it has 2 diagonals and then meet at the center. Also, we have it that the diagonal divides it into two equal parts, it can be said to have 4 lines of symmetry. A line of symmetry is said to be a line that divides a shape into two equal parts. So if you look at it, when you draw a line from A to C, it divides it into two right angle triangle. Also, if you divide it from the middle into two, it divides it into two equal half. And also, if you divide it this way, it divides it also into two equal half. So you can say it has 4 lines of symmetry. It has 4 lines of symmetry and 2 diagonals. What else can we say about this? Yes, so you can give as much as you can, but this 4 can go. Question 11 says we should find the mean of the following amount of money: 329 naira, 3,500 naira, 1,900 naira, and 2,500 naira. So, what do you understand by the mean? The mean is said to be the average value of all figures taken into consideration. So, in this case, what we are going to do is we are going to sum up all the monies and divide it by the total number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 amounts. So what we are going to do is we are going to sum up all of them and divide by 4, where we have n to be equal to 4 and summation x is said to be equal to 3,209 plus 3,500 to be added to 1,900 and 2,250. Sorry. So when you sum this up, you are going to have 5,979 naira. While the mean is denoted by, you can call it x bar, is said to be equal to summation x divided by n, where summation x is said to be the sum of all the monies involved. That becomes 5,979 to be divided by 4. When you divide 5,979 by 4, you are going to have what? 4 into itself is 1. 4 into 5 is 1, remainder 1. 4 into 19 gives us 4, remainder 3. 4 into 37 is 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. So you are left with 1. And 4 into 19 will equally be said to be 4, remainder 3. Add 0 to it and divide by 4. This gives us 4 divided by 30 is said to be 7, remainder 2. For 7 times 4 is 28, so remainder 2. Add 0 to it and divide by 4. This gives us 5. So our answer is said to be 1,494 naira 75 kobo. So our mean is said to be 1,494 naira 75 kobo. Question 12 says, in a set of numbers, the number that appears the most is called the mode. So mode is the number that appears most in a given set of distribution. While I've just calculated the mean is said to be the average, while the median is said to be the middle number when the numbers are arranged either in ascending order or descending orders. So that brings us to the end of this assignment. I hope it helps you, and you can just point out 1 or 2 issues that is not clear to you. And don't forget to like our videos and subscribe to our channels. Also turn on the notification bell so as to be notified whenever a new video is being uploaded. You can equally send in your assignments and the solutions will be recorded and presented to you so that you and others can also benefit from the assignment. See you in our next class. Cheers. Thank you, and see you in our next class. Have a nice day.